I stood in the freezing rain, my hands bleeding, selling burgers for $3 each. The woman in the expensive coat threw money at my face. "Keep the change, burger girl. You're disgusting." I didn't cry. I couldn't. Because at home my husband was dying. I saved him. I gave him everything. My mother's ring, my sleep, my dignity, my genius. I built him an empire and put his name on it. 3 years later, he was a billionaire. And I found him at the most expensive hotel in Chicago, putting a $10 million ring on another woman's finger. The same woman who threw money at my face. He looked at me with disgust and said, "You smell like grease and poverty. Sign the divorce papers and leave." But what Vance didn't know was that the hotel he was standing in, I owned it. The company he built, I coded it. The empire he bragged about, it was mine, and in 60 seconds, I was about to take it all back. This is the story of how a burger girl became the woman who destroyed a billionaire. With nothing but the truth. My name is Aria Santos, and this is my revenge. Before we witness the moment this billionaire realizes he just lost everything, I have a question for the Mr. James family. Do you believe in silent sacrifices, or is it time for the truth to come screaming out? If you stand for loyalty and want to see the underdog finally take her throne, hit that subscribe button right now and join our circle. We're more than a channel. We're a family that never forgets where we started. Drop a JSTIC in the comments if you're ready for the most satisfying ending in our channel's history. Now, pay close attention, because the storm is officially here. The burger stall hissed in the freezing rain. Aria's fingers were numb. She couldn't feel the spatula anymore, just the dull ache spreading through her wrists. A man in a tailored coat walked past, his umbrella blocking her view of the street. He didn't look at her. Nobody did. She flipped the patty. The grease splattered onto her hand, and she didn't flinch. Pain had become ordinary. "Hey you, brown girl, make it quick." The voice came from a woman in heels. She was young, blonde, dripping in jewelry that probably cost more than Aria's entire life. The woman's name tag read, Sloane Hartley, VP, Sterling Media Group. Aria wrapped the burger carefully. Her hands shook, not from the cold, but from exhaustion. She'd been standing here for 14 hours. Sloane threw a $5 bill onto the counter. It landed in a puddle. "Keep the change, sweetie. Buy yourself some lotion. Your hands look disgusting." Aria picked up the wet bill. She didn't respond. She couldn't afford to. The clock on her phone read 1:47 p.m. Vance's oxygen machine needed refilling by midnight. She had 13 minutes to get home. She closed the stall, her fingers fumbling with the rusty lock. The rain soaked through her hoodie, the same faded gray one she'd worn for 3 years. It used to be Vance's. Back when they were students. Back when he looked at her like she was the only person in the world. The apartment was dark when she arrived. Vance was asleep, his chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. The oxygen tank beeped softly. She checked the gauge. Almost empty. Aria pulled out the cash from her pocket. $43. Not enough. She sat on the floor beside him, watching his face. He was pale, thinner than he'd been yesterday. The doctors said he had 4 months, maybe less. "I'm going to save you," she whispered. "I promise." Vance stirred. His eyes opened, foggy and distant. "Aria, I'm here." He tried to smile. "You're wet." Did you walk home again? The bus was late. He knew she was lying. But he didn't have the strength to argue anymore. I got the email today, he said quietly. The surgery. They need 200,000 by Friday. Arya's heart stopped. Friday, that was 4 days away. We'll figure it out, she said. How? His voice cracked. Arya, I can't let you do this anymore. You're killing yourself. She took his hand. It was cold, fragile. You're not dying on me, Vance. Not after everything. He closed his eyes. A single tear rolled down his cheek. I don't deserve you. Arya didn't sleep that night. She sat at the kitchen table with her broken laptop, the screen flickering in the darkness. Her fingers moved across the keyboard, writing code that would change everything. She'd been working on this project for 2 years. A software platform that could revolutionize data analytics. It was brilliant. Even she knew that. But she'd put everything in Vance's name. His confidence was shattered by the illness. He needed something to hold on to. Something that told him he still mattered. By 4 a.m., she'd finished the final module. She uploaded it to the cloud, then sent the files to 3 venture capital firms, all under Vance's name. Her phone buzzed at 6 a.m. An email. Mr. Sterling, we'd like to schedule a meeting. Your software is extraordinary. Arya smiled. It was the first time she'd smiled in weeks. But then she looked at her hands. They were bleeding again. The cold had split the skin open. She wrapped them in old bandages and made coffee. Vance woke up at 7. He saw the email on his phone and stared at it for a long time. Arya, you did it, she interrupted. You built something incredible. He looked at her, confused. But she kissed his forehead before he could ask more questions. That afternoon, Arya went back to the stall. The rain had stopped, but the cold hadn't. A police officer approached her, his face hard. You got a permit for this? Arya's stomach dropped. I'm working on it. Please, I just need a few more days. Few more days, he laughed. This is downtown Chicago, not a charity kitchen. Pack it up or I'll confiscate everything. No. The word came out before she could stop it. Please. My husband is dying. If I don't work, he won't get his surgery. The officer didn't care. He started dismantling the stall. Arya fell to her knees in the mud. Please. Please don't do this. He ignored her. Within minutes, her stall was gone. All she had left was a cardboard box and 20 burgers she'd made that morning. She sat on the curb, rain starting again, and sold burgers from the box. People walked past her. Some laughed. One man spat near her feet. But she didn't move. She couldn't. By midnight, she'd made $62. She walked to the pharmacy and bought Vance's oxygen. The pharmacist looked at her with pity. When she got home, Vance was awake. He was sitting up, holding his phone. His face was different, lighter. Arya, they want to invest. They $3 million. They think I'm a genius. She smiled, even though her body felt like it was breaking. You are. He pulled her close. I'm going to make this right. I'm going to give you the life you deserve. She rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. It was weak, but it was there. I don't need anything else, she whispered. Just you. But as she closed her eyes, a thought crept into her mind. A dark, quiet thought that she pushed away immediately. What if saving him costs me everything? 3 days later, Vance had his surgery. Arya sold her mother's wedding ring to cover the remaining costs. She told Vance it was a loan from a friend. The surgery was successful. Vance's illness went into remission. The investment money came through. Within 6 months, Vance's company exploded. And Arya, she stayed in the shadows, still writing code, still building his empire. But Vance stopped looking at her the way he used to. He started coming home later. Then not at all. And one night, exactly 3 years after his surgery, Arya received a notification on her phone. Vance's location, the Obsidian Rose Hotel. She stood in the rain, staring at the screen. And for the first time in 3 years, Arya felt something other than exhaustion. She felt rage. Arya stood outside the Obsidian Rose Hotel, her breath forming clouds in the cold air. The building towered above her, all glass and gold, a monument to wealth she'd helped create, but never touched. Valets in crisp uniforms opened doors for women dripping in diamonds. Men in $1,000 suits laughed at jokes that probably weren't funny. She looked down at herself, the same grey hoodie, jeans with a hole in the knee, sneakers held together with duct tape. Her phone buzzed again. Vance's location hadn't moved. Rooftop, VIP section. Arya walked toward the entrance. A doorman stepped in front of her, his hand raised. Service entrance is around back. She met his eyes. I'm not here to serve, ma'am. This is a private event. Invitation only. Arya pulled out her phone, showing Vance's contact information. My husband is inside. The doorman's expression didn't change. Then he can come down and get you. Something inside her snapped. Not loudly, quietly. Like a rope that had been fraying for years, finally giving way. She pushed past him. He grabbed her arm, but she yanked free, moving faster than he expected. She'd spent 3 years lifting crates, running between stalls. Surviving, she was stronger than she looked. Security, the doorman shouted. Arya didn't stop. She found the elevator, pressed the button for the rooftop. 2 security guards rushed toward her, but the doors closed just in time. Her reflection stared back at her in the mirrored walls. She barely recognized herself. When had she become so small? When had the light in her eyes disappeared? The elevator climbed. Her heart pounded. She didn't know what she'd find up there. Part of her wanted to turn back. Go home. Pretend she never saw the notification. But she'd spent 3 years pretending. Pretending she wasn't breaking. Pretending Vance still loved her. Pretending everything she'd sacrificed meant something. The doors opened. Music flooded out. Jazz. The kind rich people pretended to understand. The rooftop was decorated with white roses and candles. At least 50 people filled the space. All of them beautiful. All of them expensive. And there, by the glass railing overlooking the city, stood Vance. He was laughing, his head thrown back, his hand resting on someone's waist. He wore a suit Arya had never seen before. Probably cost more than their old apartment's yearly rent. The woman beside him turned, and Arya's breath caught. Sloane Hartley. The woman from the burger stall. The one who'd thrown money into a puddle. But Sloane looked different now. Softer. Her hand was intertwined with Vance's, and on her finger was a ring that caught the candlelight like a small sun. Blue diamond. Massive. The kind of ring Arya used to dream about when she was young and stupid enough to believe in fairy tales. Arya moved through the crowd. Nobody noticed her. She was a shadow in a room full of light. She stopped 5 feet away from them, close enough to hear Sloane's laugh. It was musical, practiced. The laugh of someone who'd never had to beg a police officer to let her keep a burger stall. "Vance," Arya said. He turned. For a moment, just a fraction of a second, something flickered across his face. Guilt, recognition, fear. Then it was gone, replaced by something colder. "Arya." He said her name like it tasted bad. "What are you doing here?" Sloane's eyes widened. Then she smiled, that same condescending smile from 3 years ago. "Oh my God. Vance, is this her? The burger girl?" Arya's hands clenched. "I'm your wife." Vance stepped away from Sloane, but not toward Arya. He positioned himself between them, like Arya was the threat. "We need to talk," he said quietly. "But not here." "Why not here?" Arya's voice was steady, steadier than she felt. "Are you embarrassed?" Sloane laughed again. "Honey, look at yourself. You smell like grease and desperation. This is a $5,000 plate event. You don't belong here." Arya looked at Sloane's ring, then at Vance. "Is that why you've been gone, planning this?" Vance's jaw tightened. "Arya, let's go downstairs. We can discuss this privately." "Discuss what?" "The fact that you proposed to another woman, while you're still married to me." The conversations around them stopped. People turned, sensing drama more expensive than the champagne they were drinking. Vance grabbed Arya's arm, pulling her toward the elevator. His grip was tight. Too tight. "You're making a scene," he hissed. "Good." Arya yanked her arm free. "Let them see." They reached a private corner. Vance's face was red, his perfect composure cracking. "I was going to tell you," he said. "Tell me what?" "That you're leaving me for the woman who threw money at my face. That was 3 years ago." "Sloane has changed." "Changed." Arya laughed, and it sounded broken. "Vance, I sold my mother's ring for your surgery. I worked 20-hour days so you could breathe. I built your entire company while you slept. You didn't build anything." Vance snapped. "I created that software." "Me." "You just helped with some coding." The words hit her like a physical blow. She stepped back, staring at him. "Some coding." "Arya, I'm grateful for what you did. I am. But I've outgrown this. Outgrown us. Sloane understands my world now. She's connected, sophisticated. She makes sense for where I am. And I don't." "None." He said it simply, like he was commenting on the weather. "You don't." Arya felt something inside her chest. Not her heart breaking. That had happened slowly over 3 years. This was different. This was the moment she realized she'd been a fool. "I have papers drawn up," Vance continued. "Sign them, and I'll give you 200,000. Enough to start over. 200,000. Arya repeated the number. "That's what you think I'm worth. It's generous considering you came into this marriage with nothing." Sloane appeared beside them, her hand possessively on Vance's shoulder. "Vance, darling, the photographer is waiting." She looked at Arya with mock sympathy. It must be hard, seeing him so successful. But you have to understand, people like Vance need partners who can stand beside them at their level. Not someone who drags them down. Arya stared at Sloane's perfectly manicured nails. She thought about her own hands, scarred and rough from years of work. "Sloane, do you know why Vance was dying 3 years ago?" Sloane blinked. "What?" "He had stage 4 illness. The doctors gave him 4 months. But I saved him. Every burger I sold, Every night I didn't sleep. Every piece of myself I gave up was for him. Sloane's smile faltered. She looked at Vance. You never told me you were that sick. Vance's face hardened. That's in the past. I'm focused on the future. The future? Arya nodded slowly. With the company I built. In the world I created for you. You're delusional, Vance said coldly. Security? 2 guards appeared immediately. They knew exactly who Vance was. Everyone did. Escort her out, Vance ordered. She's trespassing. The guards moved toward Arya. She didn't resist. She let them take her arms, start walking her toward the elevator. But as they passed the main area, Arya stopped. She looked at the crowd of wealthy, beautiful people. Then she looked at the manager standing near the entrance. Their eyes met. The manager's face went white. He rushed forward, pushing past the security guards. Release her. Now. Oh. The guards hesitated. Vance stepped forward. Excuse me. I gave you a manager bode. Not to Vance. To Arya, Madam Chairperson, I apologize. I didn't recognize you. Had I known, the rooftop went silent. Every conversation stopped. Every eye turned to Arya. Vance laughed. Chairperson, what is this? The manager pulled out his phone, showing Vance something on the screen. Vance's face changed. Confusion. Then something that looked like fear. That's impossible, Vance whispered. Arya pulled off her hood. Her hair fell around her shoulders, and for the first time in 3 years, she stood up straight. Mr. Sterling, she said quietly. Welcome to my hotel. Sloane grabbed Vance's arm. What is she talking about? Arya walked to the center of the rooftop. The crowd parted for her like water. The obsidian rose was purchased 1 year ago by a private investor. All profits go to a foundation supporting families dealing with terminal illness. The buyer remained anonymous. She paused. Until tonight. Vance shook his head. You're lying. You don't have that kind of money, don't I? Arya smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. Tell me, Vance, when you signed those investment papers 3 years ago, did you read the fine print? His silence was answer enough. The software you claim you built. I own 60% of the intellectual property rights. I just never enforced them. I let you have everything because I loved you. She looked at Sloane. That ring on your finger. $10 million. Do you know where that money came from? Sloane's hand went to the ring protectively. From the royalties of the software I wrote. The empire I built. The success I gave him. Arya pulled out her phone, typing something quickly. Within seconds, Vance's phone buzzed. Then again. And again. He looked at the screen. His face went gray. What did you do? I activated the ownership clause. As of this moment, your access to Sterling Media's primary accounts is frozen pending board review. Your company's shares are under audit, and your credit cards. She smiled. Declined. Vance stared at her like he'd never seen her before. You can't do this? I already did. The rooftop erupted in whispers. Phones came out. This would be on every gossip site by morning. Arya turned to the manager. Please escort Mr. Sterling and his guest out. They're trespassing on private property. Vance lunged forward. Arya, wait. Let me explain. The security guards grabbed him. The same ones who'd been about to throw her out. Sloane's voice rose, shrill and desperate. Vance! Do something! But there was nothing he could do. The guards walked them toward the elevator. As the doors closed, Vance and Arya's eyes met one last time. She saw the exact moment he realized what he'd lost, and she felt nothing. The elevator descended. The crowd remained silent. Then someone started clapping. Slowly at first. Then others joined. Arya didn't acknowledge them. She walked to the railing, looking out at the city lights. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Impressive move tonight. We should talk, Marcus Chen." Arya frowned. She didn't know anyone named Marcus Chen. But somehow, she had a feeling her night was far from over. Arya deleted the message without responding. She didn't have the energy for mysterious strangers tonight. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by exhaustion that went bone deep. She'd just destroyed the man she'd spent 3 years saving. The man she'd loved. And she felt hollow. The crowd gradually dispersed, sensing the show was over. The manager approached carefully, like she might shatter if he spoke too loud. "Madam, would you like us to prepare a suit for the evening?" Arya shook her head. "No, I'm going home." "Of course. Should I call your car?" She almost laughed. Her car. She still took the bus. Old habits died hard. "I'll manage." She walked toward the elevator, but her phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. "Don't delete this one. I know what Vance stole from you. And I can prove it, MC." Arya stopped walking. Her finger hovered over the delete button. But something made her hesitate. She typed back, "Who are you?" The response came immediately. The investor who almost gave Vance 20 million last month. "Until I did some digging and found out the real genius behind Sterling Media. Meet me tomorrow. 10 a.m. Hartwell Coffee on Michigan Avenue." Arya stared at the message. This could be a trap, or a reporter, or someone looking to exploit her vulnerability. But it could also be the one thing she needed. Proof. Documentation. Evidence that everything Vance claimed as his was actually hers. She typed, "How do I know you're legitimate?" "Because I'm the only person who knows about Project Nightingale." Arya's blood went cold. Project Nightingale. She'd never told anyone about that. It was the code name for her most advanced algorithm, buried so deep in Sterling Media's infrastructure that even Vance didn't know it existed. She'd built it as insurance, a kill switch hidden in plain sight. Only someone with serious access could know about it. "Fine," she typed. 10 a.m. Come alone. She left the hotel through the service entrance, avoiding the cameras and curious eyes. The night air bit through her hoodie. She should have been freezing, but she felt numb. The apartment she shared with Vance was across town. Shared. Past tense now, she supposed. She took the bus, sitting in the back where nobody would recognize her. An old woman got on at the next stop, struggling with grocery bags. Arya stood automatically, offering her seat. The woman smiled. "Thank you, dear. You're kind." Arya looked away. She didn't feel kind. She felt like a bomb that had finally detonated. When she reached the apartment, she stood outside for a long moment. The lights were off. Vance wouldn't be coming home tonight. Maybe never again. She unlocked the door. Everything looked the same. Vance's medical equipment, long unused, still sat in the corner. She'd kept it, unable to throw away the reminder of how close she'd come to losing him. Funny how she'd fought so hard to save him, only to destroy him herself. Her laptop sat on the kitchen table. She opened it, her fingers moving automatically across the keyboard. Within minutes, she was inside Sterling Media's network. Vance had never changed the administrative passwords. Why would he? He thought he was the only one who knew them. She pulled up the company's financial records. 3 years of exponential growth. Deals worth hundreds of millions. All built on her code, her innovations, her sleepless nights. And buried in the files, she found something that made her stomach turn. A folder labeled Acquisition Plans. She opened it. Inside were documents outlining Vance's strategy to buy out her ownership stake. He'd been planning this for months. There were emails to lawyers, accountants, consultants, all discussing how to legally remove her from the company without raising red flags. One email made her pause. It was from Sloan to Vance, dated 6 months ago. Baby, once you get rid of the dead weight, we can finally be together properly. She served her purpose. Now it's time for you to have a real partner. Someone who matches your success. Aria closed the laptop. Her hands were shaking. She walked to the bathroom, turned on the shower, and for the first time in 3 years, she didn't bite her hand to muffle her screams. She just screamed. The water ran cold before she stopped. She stood there, dripping, staring at her reflection in the fog mirror. She wiped it clear. The woman looking back at her was a stranger. Thin, tired, broken, but still standing. Her phone rang. She almost ignored it, but the caller ID made her answer. Hello, Aria. It's David Chen, from Northwestern. Is this a bad time? David. She hadn't talked to him in 4 years. He'd been her professor, the one who'd recognized her coding genius when she was just a scholarship kid trying to survive. Professor Chen. No, it's fine. What's going on? I saw the news. About tonight. Are you okay? Of course it was already news. Nothing stayed private in this city. I'm managing. Listen, I'm calling because I have someone who wants to meet you. My nephew Marcus. He runs a venture capital firm. He's been tracking your work for years. Aria froze. Marcus Chen. Yes. He reached out to you, didn't he? How did he know about Project Nightingale? David was quiet for a moment. Because I told him. Years ago, when you first showed me the preliminary code. Aria, Marcus isn't like the others. He actually wants to help. Nobody helps for free. No, David admitted. But sometimes people help because they recognize brilliance when they see it. Meet with him. Hear him out. You've been invisible for too long. After they hung up, Aria sat in the darkness of her apartment. She should have felt triumphant. She'd exposed Vance, taken back her power. But all she felt was tired. She fell asleep on the couch, still in her damp clothes. Her dreams were fragmented. Vance's face. Sloane's laugh. The cold streets of Chicago. A blue diamond ring sinking into a puddle. She woke at dawn to her phone buzzing. 17 missed calls. 12 from unknown numbers. 5 from Vance. There were also hundreds of notifications from social media. She'd been tagged in countless posts. Videos from the hotel had gone viral. Billionaire's wife reveals she owns everything. The comments were brutal. Half praised her. Half called her a liar, a gold digger, a bitter ex. Some were racist. Some were supportive. All were invasive. She turned off her phone. At 9:30, she left for the coffee shop. She wore the same hoodie, the same jeans. She didn't have anything else. All her nice clothes had been sold years ago to pay for Vance's treatment. Hartwell Coffee was busy. filled with students and freelancers hunched over laptops. She ordered black coffee and sat in the corner, her back to the wall. At exactly 10 a.m., a man walked in. Late 30s, Chinese American, wearing an expensive but understated suit. He moved with quiet confidence, scanning the room until his eyes found hers. Marcus Chen. He walked over, extending his hand. Aria, thank you for meeting me. She didn't shake his hand. Talk fast. I don't trust easily anymore. He sat down, unfazed by her coldness. Fair enough. I'll be direct. 3 months ago, Vance Sterling approached my firm for a major investment, $20 million to expand Sterling Media's AI division. And I almost said yes, until I did a deep dive into the company's technology. The code was extraordinary, revolutionary. But the patents, the original files, the foundational architecture, they all had digital fingerprints that didn't match Vance's coding style. Aria's jaw tightened. You're a forensic analyst. Among other things, I started digging deeper. I found your name buried in old university records, scholarship applications, coding competitions. Aria Santos, first place in the National Cybersecurity Challenge 4 years running. Then you disappeared. I got married. You got erased. Marcus corrected. Every piece of brilliant work you did got attributed to him. And when I confronted Vance about the discrepancies, he got defensive. Threatened legal action. That's when I knew he was hiding something. Marcus pulled out a tablet, sliding it across the table. This is every piece of code attributed to Vance Sterling. And this is the metadata showing when it was actually written and from which IP address. Aria looked at the screen. Her old apartment's IP address. The library where she used to code late at night. The hospital where she'd worked on her laptop while Vance recovered from surgery. Why are you showing me this? Because you deserve credit, and because I want to invest in you, not Vance. You. Aria pushed the tablet back. I don't need investors. I need to be left alone. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you just declared war on a man who has an army of lawyers and a PR team that can bury you in litigation for years. He wasn't wrong. She'd acted on emotion last night. She hadn't thought about the consequences. What do you want from me? She asked. I want you to build something new. Something that's entirely yours. No more hiding in shadows. No more giving credit away. He leaned forward. Aria, you're a once-in-a-generation talent. Stop wasting it on people who don't deserve you. She wanted to say no, to walk away. But something in his eyes stopped her. He wasn't looking at her with pity or condescension. He was looking at her like she mattered. I'll think about it, she said finally. Marcus smiled. That's all I ask. Here's my card. Call me when you're ready. He left cash on the table for both their coffees and walked out. Aria sat there for another hour, staring at the business card. Marcus Chen. Chen Capital Ventures. Her phone buzzed. She'd turned it back on without thinking. A new message. From Vance. We need to talk. I made a mistake. Please. Give me a chance to fix this. Aria stared at the message for a long time. Then she blocked his number and walked out of the coffee shop. She had work to do. And for the first time in 3 years, it was going to be for herself. Aria spent the next 3 days locked in her apartment, surviving on instant ramen and black coffee. She wasn't hiding. She was building. Her fingers flew across the keyboard lines of code appearing faster than she could think them. This was what freedom felt like. No more pretending Vance's ideas were brilliant. No more dumbing down her work so his ego wouldn't bruise. No more hiding. She was creating something that would make Sterling Media look like a child's toy. On the fourth morning, someone knocked on her door. Hard, insistent, Arya checked the peephole. A woman stood there, professional, holding a leather briefcase. Behind her were two men in suits that screamed, "Lawyer." She opened the door halfway. "Can I help you?" The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Mrs. Sterling, I'm Jennifer Moss, representing your husband in divorce proceedings. May we come in?" Arya didn't move. "I haven't agreed to a divorce yet, but you will." Jennifer's smile widened. "We have a very generous offer. May we?" Against her better judgment, Arya let them in. They looked around the apartment like they were inspecting a crime scene. One of the men wrinkled his nose at the pile of takeout containers. Jennifer sat on the couch without being invited. "Let's not waste time. Mr. Sterling is prepared to offer you $500,000, full transfer of this apartment, and a non-disclosure agreement." Non-disclosure about what? "About the nature of your contributions to Sterling Media, about last week's incident at the Obsidian Rose, about the circumstances of your marriage." Jennifer pulled papers from her briefcase. "Sign these, take the money, and move on with your life." Arya picked up the papers. The legal language was dense, but the message was clear. Sign this, and she could never speak publicly about Vance, the company, or anything related to their marriage. Ever. $500,000 to disappear, Arya said quietly. "That's what I'm worth." "Mrs. Sterling, let's be realistic. You have no proof of your claims. The intellectual property is registered in your husband's name. You may own the hotel, but that doesn't give you ownership of Sterling Media. This offer is more than fair." "Fair?" Arya set the papers down. "Tell me something, Jennifer. Did Vance mention that I saved his life?" Jennifer's expression didn't change. "Missen, Sterling's medical history is irrelevant to the dissolution of this marriage." "Is it?" "Because I'm curious what a jury would think. Dying man. Devoted wife who sacrifices everything. Then the moment he's healthy and rich, he throws her away for another woman." Arya leaned forward. "That's a good story. The kind that plays well on television." One of the men spoke for the first time. "Are you threatening us?" "No. I'm just wondering if you've calculated the PR cost of dragging this through court. Vance is trying to close a merger with Techstone Industries. Right, worth about $3 billion. Wonder what their board would think about a messy public divorce." Jennifer's jaw tightened. "You're bluffing. You can't afford a legal battle." "Can't I?" Arya smiled. "You might want to check your facts. I own 60% of the IP rights to Sterling Media's core technology. I just haven't exercised them yet." The room went very quiet. Jennifer stood abruptly. "This conversation is over. But think carefully, Mrs. Sterling. My client is prepared to make your life very difficult if you don't cooperate." "He already did that," Arya said. "For 3 years. I survived. I'll survive this too." After they left, Arya's hands shook. She'd just bluffed her way through a legal ambush. But she wasn't stupid. They were right about one thing. A court battle would destroy her financially, unless she had help. She picked up Marcus Chen's business card. They met that afternoon at his office, a sleek space in the financial district with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Marcus listened without interrupting as she explained the visit from Vance's lawyers. When she finished, he leaned back in his chair. "Good. That's good. They're threatening legal warfare." "How is that good?" "Because if Vance wasn't worried, he'd just let you fade away. But he's sending high-priced lawyers to intimidate you, which means he knows you're a threat." Marcus opened a file on his desk. "I had my team do more digging. The Techstone merger. It's contingent on Sterling Media maintaining its current valuation and reputation. A scandal would kill it. So I have leverage. You have a nuclear bomb. The question is whether you're willing to detonate it." Arya looked out at the lake. The water was grey, choppy. What would that look like? Detonating it. "You file for divorce on your terms. You claim your rightful ownership of the IP. You go public with your story, backed by documentation and evidence. And you let the court of public opinion do the rest." That would destroy him. "Yes." Arya was quiet for a long moment. "Part of me still loves him. The him from 4 years ago. The one who looked at me like I was magic." Marcus nodded. "I understand. But that man is gone. The one who exists now. He sent lawyers to silence you. He tried to erase you. He chose his reputation over your dignity. He was right. She knew he was right. If I do this, I need more than just evidence. I need resources, legal support, protection. That's why I'm here." Marcus slid a contract across the desk. "Chen Capital Ventures will fund your legal team, provide security, and back your counterclaim against Sterling Media. In exchange, when you launch your new company, we get first option to invest. You'd bet on me, against Vance." "I'm not betting on you against Vance. I'm betting on you, period." "Vance is irrelevant." Arya read the contract carefully. It was surprisingly fair. No hidden clauses, no traps. Just straightforward support in exchange for future opportunity. She signed it. "Good," Marcus said. "Now let's talk about your legal team. I know someone. She's expensive, she's ruthless, and she doesn't lose." 2 days later, Arya met Catherine Wright in a conference room that cost more per hour than Arya used to make in a week. Catherine was 50, black, with silver hair and eyes that could cut glass. She wore a suit that probably cost 5 figures and carried herself like someone who'd never lost an argument in her life. "Men Santos," Catherine said, shaking Arya's hand with a grip that meant business. "I've reviewed your case, and I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to get ugly." "I expected that." "No, you didn't." "Not really." Catherine sat down, folding her hands on the table. "When we file your claim, Vance Sterling will come at you with everything. He'll drag your name through the mud. He'll find every mistake you ever made and magnify it. He'll try to paint you as unstable, vindictive, a liar. Can he do that? He'll try. But here's the thing. I'm better at this game than his lawyers will ever be. And unlike them, I have the truth on my side." Catherine opened her briefcase, pulling out a thick folder. "I've already started building your case. I have forensic evidence of your code authorship. I have testimony from your former professors. I have financial records showing you were the sole earner during Vance's illness. And I have something else." She slid a photograph across the table. It showed Vance and Sloane together at a restaurant. The date stamp was from 8 months ago, before the engagement, before Aria knew anything was wrong. Where did you get this? I have investigators. Good ones. This proves infidelity, which strengthens your position in the divorce. But more importantly, Catherine pulled out another photo. This one showed Vance meeting with Jennifer Moss and another man Aria didn't recognize. This was taken 14 months ago. Vance has been planning to remove you from the company for over a year. Aria stared at the photos. 14 months. While she was still cooking his meals. Still supporting him. Still believing in them. He's been plotting this the entire time, she whispered. Yes. Which means, when we go to court, we're not just fighting for your share of the company. We're fighting for justice. Over the next week, Catherine's team worked around the clock. They filed a formal claim for intellectual property ownership, a divorce petition citing adultery and fraud, and a restraining order preventing Vance from making any major business decisions without court approval. The Techstone merger, frozen. Sterling Media's stock dropped 12% in 2 days. Vance's reputation, crumbling. Aria watched it all happen from Marcus's office, feeling strangely detached. This was her doing. She'd pushed the first domino, and now everything was falling. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello. Heavy breathing. Then a voice. Female. Young. Scared. Is this Aria Santos? Yes. Who is this? My name is Emma. Emma Sterling. I'm Vance's sister. Aria sat up straight. She'd heard about Emma. Vance had mentioned her once or twice. Younger sister. They weren't close. What do you want? Emma. I need to meet you. Please, it's about Vance. About things you don't know. Emma's voice cracked. Things he did. Things he's still doing. You're in danger. Real danger. And I'm the only one who can help you. Why would you help me? I'm destroying your brother. Because you're not the first woman he's done this to? Emma paused. And if you don't stop him now, you won't be the last. The line went dead. Aria stared at her phone, her heart pounding. Who else had Vance hurt? And what hadn't Emma told her? She looked up at Marcus, who'd been watching from across the room. We need to find Emma Sterling, Aria said. Right now. Marcus nodded, already reaching for his phone. Whatever Aria thought she knew about Vance, she was about to discover. She didn't know him at all. Emma Sterling stood in the shadows of a parking garage 2 blocks from Marcus Chen's office. Aria approached slowly, her hand in her pocket gripping her phone with 911 already dialed. She'd learned not to trust anyone connected to Vance. Emma looked nothing like her brother. She was small, maybe 24, with auburn hair pulled into a messy bun. Her eyes were red from crying, and she kept looking over her shoulder like someone might be following her. Thank you for coming, Emma said, her voice shaking. I wasn't sure you would. You said I was in danger. Talk fast. Emma pulled out her phone, fingers trembling as she scrolled through photos. 3 years ago, before you married Vance, he was engaged to someone else. Aria's stomach dropped. What? Her name was Rachel Kim. She was a software engineer. Brilliant like you. Emma's voice cracked. She helped Vance when he was sick, paid for his first round of treatments, worked herself to exhaustion for him. The air left Aria's lungs. What happened to her? Emma handed over her phone. The photo showed a beautiful Asian woman with kind eyes, standing next to a healthier looking Vance. They looked happy. He got better, got his first investment deal. Then he told Rachel she wasn't sophisticated enough for his new life. He left her with nothing, took all the work she'd done and claimed it as his own. Arya's hands shook. Where is she now? Emma's eyes filled with tears. She killed herself 6 months after he left her. Jumped off the Roosevelt Bridge. The parking garage spun. Arya grabbed a concrete pillar to steady herself. No one knows this. Emma continued. Vance paid off her family, made them sign NDAs, buried the whole thing. But I found out because Rachel's sister contacted me last year. She'd been trying to warn other women, but Vance's lawyers shut her down every time. Why are you telling me this? Because you're not the first woman my brother has destroyed. And if you don't stop him now, you won't be the last. Emma pulled out a flash drive. This has everything. Rachel's emails to Vance. Bank records showing he took money from her account. Text messages where he promised to marry her, then ghosted her the day after his company went public. Arya took the flash drive with numb fingers. Does Vance know you have this? No. But he suspects something. He's been calling me, threatening me. Said if I don't stay loyal to family, he'll cut me off completely. Emma laughed bitterly. Like I care about his money. He's a monster, Arya, and I've been too scared to stop him until now. What changed? I saw the video from the hotel. I saw you stand up to him. I saw you take your power back. Emma wiped her eyes. Rachel never got that chance. But you can finish what she started. You can make sure he never does this again. Arya looked at the flash drive. It was small, ordinary. But it held the proof of a dead woman's betrayal. Evidence that could destroy Vance completely. There's something else, Emma said quietly. Vance is planning something. I overheard him on the phone with his lawyers. They're going to claim you're mentally unstable. They're going to say you fabricated your contributions to the company because you're having a breakdown. What? They're going to request a psychiatric evaluation. They'll doctor evidence, find experts who'll testify that you're delusional. It's a strategy they used before with Rachel when she tried to claim her work. It destroyed her credibility completely. Arya's vision blurred with rage. I can't do that. You can. He will. Unless you strike first. Emma grabbed Arya's shoulders. You have the evidence now. You have Rachel's story. You have the power. But you need to move fast. Vance is already setting the trap. After Emma left, Arya sat in her car for 20 minutes staring at the flash drive. Another woman. Another brilliant mind erased. Another life destroyed. And Vance had done it before without consequence. He'd perfected the playbook. Love them when he needed them, use their talent, then discard them and paint them as crazy when they fought back. She called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. We need to meet. Now, I have something that changes everything. An hour later, Arya sat in Marcus's office with Catherine Wright and 2 forensic analysts. They plugged in the flash drive. What they found was worse than Emma had described. Rachel Kim hadn't just helped Vance. She'd saved his life twice. Once medically, paying for experimental treatment out of her own savings. And once professionally, creating the original algorithm that became Sterling Media's foundation. The emails were heartbreaking. Rachel writing to Vance at 3 in the morning, excited about a breakthrough in the code. Vance responding with love, promises, plans for their future. Then the tone changed. Vance's messages became shorter, colder. He started criticizing her work, telling her she was holding him back, that she didn't understand business like he did. The last email from Rachel was dated 2 weeks before her death. "Vance, please. I don't understand what I did wrong. I gave you everything. I love you. Please just talk to me." He never responded, but there was an email he sent to his lawyer the same day. "Rachel is becoming a problem. She keeps claiming ownership of my work. Need to shut this down before it affects the merger. How much will it cost to make her go away?" Catherine's face was stone. This is premeditation. He planned to erase her before she even knew what was happening. "It's worse," one of the analysts said, pulling up bank records. Rachel Kim's savings account was drained 3 days before she died. Every penny transferred to an offshore account registered to a shell company. "Want to guess who owns that company?" "Vance," Arya whispered. "He didn't just take her work. He took her money. Left her with nothing." The analyst looked sick. She jumped off that bridge because she had no way out. No savings. No job. No future. He'd systematically destroyed everything she had. Arya stood up, walked to the window. Chicago stretched out below her, cold and indifferent. Somewhere in this city, Rachel Kim had stood on a bridge and decided she couldn't go on. Because of Vance. "Can we use this?" Arya asked. Catherine nodded slowly. "We can, but it's complicated. Rachel's family signed NDAs. If we expose this, Vance's lawyers will argue that we attained the information illegally through Emma, who violated family confidentiality." "I don't care about legal complications," Arya said. "A woman died because of him. The world needs to know. If we release this publicly, we lose the element of surprise," Marcus warned. "Vance will have time to spin the narrative, paint Rachel as mentally ill, claim the emails are fake." Catherine smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "We use it as leverage. We go to Vance privately. We show him we have Rachel's story, and we give him a choice: walk away from everything quietly, or we destroy him publicly with evidence of his involvement in a woman's death. He'll never agree to that. Then we destroy him." Catherine leaned forward. "But Arya, you need to understand what you're choosing. If we go public with this, it's war. Not just legal war. Personal war. Vance will come after you with everything he has. Your reputation, your sanity, your past. Nothing will be off limits." Arya thought about Rachel Kim. About the brilliant woman who'd loved the wrong man and paid with her life. She thought about herself 3 years ago, standing in the rain, selling burgers with bleeding hands. She thought about all the women Vance would hurt in the future if someone didn't stop him. "I choose war," she said. Marcus pulled out his laptop. "Then we need a strategy. Catherine's right that we can't just dump this information online. We need to build a case that's airtight, media coverage that's sympathetic, public opinion on our side before Vance can spin it. I might know someone who can help with that," Arya said, pulling out her phone. She scrolled through her contacts until she found a name she hadn't called in years. David Chen had mentioned his nephew Marcus. But David had also mentioned something else during their call. His daughter was an investigative journalist for the Chicago Tribune. Sarah Chen answered on the third ring. Aria Santos, I haven't heard from you since graduation. What's going on? Sarah, I need to ask you something. If I gave you evidence of a tech billionaire covering up a woman's suicide after stealing her work and her money, would you publish it? Silence. Then, are we talking about Vance Sterling? How did you know? Because I've been investigating him for 6 months. I have 3 other women who came forward anonymously with similar stories. But they're all too scared to go on record because of his lawyers. Sarah's voice sharpened. Do you have evidence? Real documented evidence? I have emails, bank records, a witness willing to testify. And I have my own story. Can you come to my office tomorrow? Bring everything you have. If it's solid, I can have a story ready to run by the end of the week. After Aria hung up, she looked at the people in the room. Marcus, Catherine, the analysts. A month ago, she'd been alone, invisible, erased. Now she had an army. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost deleted it, but the message preview made her freeze. I know what Emma told you. Meet me, or I'll make sure you regret it. V. Vance knew. He's tracking Emma's phone, Marcus said, reading over her shoulder. That's how he knew about the meeting. Aria's phone rang. Vance's name on the screen. Catherine shook her head. Don't answer. Let him sweat. But Aria picked up, put it on speaker. Hello, Vance. You've been busy. His voice was cold, controlled. Talking to my sister. Meeting with journalists. Building your little case against me. You mean telling the truth about what you did to Rachel Kim? The line went quiet. When Vance spoke again, his voice was different. Dangerous. You don't know what you're playing with, Aria. Rachel was unstable. Mentally ill. She made up stories about our relationship because she couldn't handle my success. Is that what you'll say about me too? When you try to paint me as crazy. I don't have to paint you as anything. You're making yourself look insane all on your own. Breaking into hotels. Freezing business accounts. Making wild accusations. He laughed. My lawyers are going to have a field day with this. Your lawyers can't save you from the truth. The truth. Vance's voice turned sharp. The truth is you were a nobody I took pity on. A burger vendor with delusions of grandeur. I gave you a life, a home, a purpose, and this is how you repay me. You're right about one thing, Aria said quietly. I was a burger vendor. I had bleeding hands and no money and nothing to my name. But I had something you'll never have, Vance. I had integrity, and I'm going to use it to make sure everyone knows exactly who you are. If you publish anything about Rachel, I will sue you into oblivion. I will make sure you never work in tech again. I will. Aria hung up. Her hands were shaking, but she felt strangely calm. Hayes scared. Marcus observed. That threat was desperation, not confidence. Good, Catherine said. Scared people make mistakes. And we'll be ready when he does. Aria looked at the flash drive sitting on Marcus's desk. Such a small thing. But it held the power to change everything. What was Rachel like? She asked Emma over text later that night. The response came quickly, brilliant. Kind. She believed in people too much. She believed in Vance, even when he was destroying her. She just wanted to be loved. Aria stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed, I'm going to make sure her story is told. I'm going to make sure she didn't die for nothing. 3 dots appeared. Then, thank you. She deserves that. Aria fell asleep that night with Rachel Kim's photo on her nightstand. A woman she'd never met. A woman whose ghost was about to help bring down the man they'd both loved. In the morning, everything would change. The war was just beginning. Sarah Chen's office at the Chicago Tribune was exactly what Aria expected. Chaos organized by someone who thrived in it. Stacks of papers, 3 computer monitors, empty coffee cups, and a wall covered in photos connected by red string like a detective's murder board. At the center of it all was a photograph of Vance Sterling. "I've been waiting for someone like you," Sarah said, clearing space on her desk. "Someone with actual proof who's willing to go on record." Aria set down the flash drive, along with folders Catherine had prepared containing her own documentation. Bank statements, code repositories, emails. 3 years of evidence that she'd built Sterling Media while Vance took credit. Sarah plugged in the flash drive. Her eyes moved across the screen, reading Rachel's emails. Her expression darkened with each one. "This is worse than I thought," she muttered. "I knew he was a plagiarist and a user. But this is criminal. Can you publish it?"
Yes.
"Will my editor let me?" Sarah sat back, thinking. "I need corroboration. Emma Sterling is one source, but she's family. Biased. I need Rachel's family to confirm the story. They signed NDAs. DAs don't cover criminal activity. If Vance drained Rachel's bank account, that's theft. If he knowingly pushed her to suicide, that's manslaughter at minimum." Sarah pulled up a file on her computer. "I've been talking to Rachel's sister, Michelle Kim, for months. She wouldn't go on record before. But with this evidence, she might." Sarah made the call on speaker. A woman's voice answered, cautious. "Hello, Michelle. It's Sarah Chen from the Tribune. I have someone here you need to meet. Her name is Aria Santos. She was married to Vance Sterling. Silence. Then was. I'm divorcing him," Aria said. "And I have evidence of what he did to your sister." Michelle's breath caught. "What kind of evidence?" "Everything. Emails showing he planned to erase her. Bank records proving he stole from her. A pattern of behavior showing you weren't wrong about him." "I tried to tell people," Michelle whispered. "I tried to tell the police, the press, anyone who would listen. But his lawyers threatened me, said I was harassing a grieving widower, made me sound crazy. You weren't crazy. You were right. And I can prove it." 20 minutes later, Michelle Kim walked into Sarah's office. She was in her early 30s, with the same kind eyes as her sister in the photos. But there was steel underneath the sadness. She sat down across from Aria. "Show me." Aria opened her laptop, pulling up the emails. Michelle read them, tears streaming down her face. "That's her. That's Rachel's writing." She touched the screen like she could reach through it. "She sent me similar emails about how much she loved him, how excited she was about their future. Do you still have them?" "Yes. I kept everything, even after the lawyers told me to destroy it all." Michelle looked up. "I knew someday someone would need to see the truth." Sarah was already typing. "Michelle, if you're willing to go on record, I can have this story published in 48 hours. Full front page. Documented evidence. Multiple sources. Will it matter? He's a billionaire. He has armies of lawyers." "It will matter," Aria said. because I'm not scared of his lawyers anymore. And because there are 3 more women out there with similar stories. If we all speak together, he can't silence us. Michelle wiped her eyes. What do you need from me? Your story. In your own words. What Rachel was like. What Vance did to her. What happened after. Michelle nodded. Okay. But I want to add something to the article. What? Rachel left a note. The police classified it as a suicide note and sealed it. But I kept a copy. Michelle pulled out her phone, showing a photo of handwritten pages. She wrote it the night before she died. It explains everything. Sarah leaned forward. May I? Michelle handed over her phone. Sarah read aloud. To whoever finds this, I'm not crazy. I know Vance will say I am. He's already started telling people I'm unstable, obsessed, delusional. But I'm not. I'm just a woman who gave everything to someone who saw me as a resource to exploit. For I built the code that made him rich. I paid for the treatment that saved his life. I believed in him when no one else did, and the moment he didn't need me anymore, he erased me. He took my work, my money, my future. And when I tried to fight back, he made sure no one would believe me. I don't want to die, but I don't know how to live in a world where someone can destroy you completely and face no consequences, where brilliance in a woman is seen as something to steal, not celebrate. If you're reading this, please don't let him do this to someone else. Please don't let my story end with silence. The office was quiet, except for the sound of Sarah's fingers flying across her keyboard. I'm publishing this, Sarah said, every word, with full attribution to Rachel Kim. This is her story to tell. Over the next 2 days, Sarah worked around the clock. She interviewed Michelle, Emma, and 3 other women who'd come forward anonymously. She verified every email, every bank transaction, every claim. Catherine provided legal documentation showing patterns in Vance's behavior. Marcus provided forensic analysis of code, proving Rachel and Aria had written the software Vance claimed as his own. On Wednesday morning, the Chicago Tribune's front page exploded with the headline. How Vance Sterling built his empire on stolen work and broken women. Below it, Rachel Kim's photo, and beside it, Aria's. The article was devastating. 20,000 words of documented evidence. Interviews with 5 women, expert testimony from code analysts, bank records, emails, and Rachel's final letter published in full. Within an hour, it had been shared 10,000 times. Within 3 hours, Fev Justice for Rachel was trending nationwide. By evening, every major news outlet in the country was running the story. Aria watched it unfold from Marcus's office, her phone exploding with notifications, messages of support, interview requests. Women she'd never met sharing their own stories of brilliant work stolen by powerful men. But there were also threats. Vance's supporters calling her a liar, a gold digger, a woman scorned making up stories for revenge. Don't read the comments, Marcus advised. Focus on what matters. The story is out. The truth is public. Vance can't bury this. Aria's phone rang. Catherine. Turn on Channel 7 now. Marcus switched on the television. A press conference. Vance stood at a podium, flanked by lawyers, looking haggard but defiant. These allegations are completely false, he said, his voice tight. I loved Rachel Kim. Her death was a tragedy, but to claim I had anything to do with it is not only wrong, it's cruel to her memory. and to everyone who knew her. A reporter shouted, "What about the emails? The bank records? Fabricated. My legal team is already filing defamation suits against the Tribune and everyone involved in this smear campaign." What about Aria Santos? Is it true she wrote the original Sterling media code? Vance's expression hardened. Aria is my estranged wife, who is unfortunately suffering from severe mental health issues. She's making these claims as part of a delusional episode. I've tried to get her help, but she's refused treatment. Aria's hands clenched. There it was, the exact strategy Emma had warned about. "He's calling me crazy," she said, quietly. "Let him," Catherine replied over the phone. "We have psychiatric evaluations from 3 independent doctors stating you're completely sound. We have testimony from professors, colleagues, and friends. His strategy worked with Rachel because she was isolated, but you're not." The press conference continued. Vance was smooth, practiced. He portrayed himself as a victim of bitter partners and sensationalist journalism. But then a reporter asked, "Mistress, Sterling, if the allegations are false, why did you pay Rachel Kim's family to sign non-disclosure agreements?" Vance froze for just a second. That was a private family matter to protect Rachel's memory from exploitation, by paying them hundreds of thousands of dollars for their silence. This press conference is over. Vance's lawyers hustled him away from the podium. The footage cut to the newsroom. The anchor looked directly at the camera. "Developing story. We've just received word that the FBI has opened an investigation into potential financial crimes related to Vance Sterling and Sterling Media. More at 11. Marcus turned to Aria. "It's happening. The dam is breaking." That night, Aria did something she hadn't done in 3 years. She went live on social media. She sat in front of her laptop camera, no makeup, wearing the same grey hoodie from the hotel, just herself. "My name is Aria Santos," she began. 3 years ago, I stood in the freezing rain selling burgers with bleeding hands to save my dying husband's life. I gave him everything. My savings, my work, my future. I built the software that made him a billionaire, and I put it in his name because I loved him and wanted him to succeed. The live viewer count climbed. 1,000. 5,000. 10,000. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you because there's a woman who can't tell her own story anymore. Her name was Rachel Kim. She was brilliant, kind, and she believed in the wrong person, just like I did. 20,000 viewers. 50,000. Rachel did everything for Vance Sterling that I did. She saved his life. She built his company. And when he didn't need her anymore, he destroyed her. Took her work, her money, her credibility. And when she had nothing left, she died. Alone, believing she was crazy, because that's what he told her. 100,000 viewers. Aria held up Rachel's photo. This is Rachel Kim. She was 28 years old. She had a family who loved her. She had dreams. And she deserved better than what Vance Sterling gave her. Tears ran down Aria's face, but she didn't wipe them away. I'm not going to let him do to me what he did to Rachel. I'm not going to die in silence. I'm going to fight. And I'm going to make sure every woman who comes after me knows your work matters, your brilliance matters, you matter. And no one gets to erase you. The viewer count hit 500,000. If you've ever had your work stolen, If you've ever been called crazy for telling the truth. If you've ever been made to feel small by someone who should have lifted you up, this fight is for you, too. Arya looked directly at the camera. Vance, if you're watching, I'm not Rachel. I'm not going to disappear. I'm going to make sure the whole world knows exactly who you are. She ended the stream. Within minutes, it had been viewed 2 million times. Maria started trending. Women everywhere began sharing their own stories. Tech workers who'd had code stolen, artists whose work was plagiarized, researchers whose discoveries were attributed to men. The movement grew beyond Vance Sterling. It became about every woman who'd ever been erased. At midnight, Arya's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Heavy breathing. Then a voice she didn't recognize. Female, young, terrified.
Is this Arya Santos? Yes.
Who is this? My name is Claire. Claire Morrison. I work at Sterling Media. I'm Vance's current assistant. The woman's voice shook. I need to meet you. Tomorrow. Please. I have something you need to see. Something that will end him for good. What is it? Not over the phone. They monitor everything. Can you meet me at Lincoln Park? By the lake. 6 a.m. How do I know this isn't a trap? Because Vance is doing to me exactly what he did to Rachel. And to you. And I have proof. Claire's voice broke. Please. I'm running out of time. The line went dead. Arya sat in the darkness, her heart pounding. Another woman. Another victim. But this one was still alive. Still fighting. Still had a chance. She called Marcus. One needs security for a meeting tomorrow morning. And Catherine. And maybe the FBI. What's happening? Either we're about to win this war, Arya said, or we're walking into an ambush. But either way, I'm not backing down now. Outside her window, Chicago glittered in the night. Somewhere out there, Vance Sterling was watching his empire crumble. And somewhere out there, a woman named Claire Morrison was risking everything to make sure the truth came out. Arya thought about Rachel's final words. Please don't let him do this to someone else. Ness. I won't. Arya whispered to the ghost she'd never met. I promise. Tomorrow everything would change again. The final battle was coming. The sun hadn't risen yet when Arya arrived at Lincoln Park. Marcus was already there with 2 private security guards and Catherine on video call from her car 3 blocks away. The FBI had been notified, but couldn't officially participate without concrete evidence of a federal crime. If this goes wrong, Catherine said through the phone, you run. Don't be a hero. Arya nodded, her breath forming clouds in the cold air. The lake stretched out before her, dark and endless. She remembered standing by water like this 3 years ago, so desperate to save Vance that she would have done anything. Now she was here to destroy him. A figure emerged from the shadows, small, blonde, mid-20s. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. She kept looking over her shoulder. Claire Morrison, Arya asked. The woman nodded. Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would. You said you have proof. Claire pulled a laptop from her bag with shaking hands. I've been Vance's executive assistant for 8 months. I thought it was my dream job. Working for a tech genius, learning from the best. She laughed bitterly. I was so stupid. You're not stupid. He's a predator. Claire opened the laptop. 3 months ago, Vance started asking me to do things that felt wrong. Deleting emails, altering timestamps on code repositories, creating fake documentation that attributed other people's work to him. She pulled up files. Dozens of them. Hundreds. This folder contains the original code for Sterling Media's new AI platform. The one that's supposed to launch next month. The one Vance is calling his masterpiece. Claire's voice hardened. He didn't write a single line of it. She opened another file. Source code with metadata showing the real author. Jennifer Park, a Korean-American software engineer who'd been at Sterling Media for 2 years. Jennifer built this entire system. Vance made her sign documents saying she was a contractor, providing consulting services. Then he fired her last week and claimed the work as his own. She can't fight back because the contract she signed gives Sterling Media ownership of anything she creates. That's legal, though, Marcus said quietly. Exploitative but legal. It would be, Claire said. Except Vance made her sign those documents after she'd already built the software. He backdated them. I have the original timestamps, proving when the real contracts were signed versus when this fake one was created. Catherine's voice came through sharp. That's fraud. Document forgery. We can use this. Claire wasn't finished. There's more. Vance has been doing this for years. I found a hidden folder on his personal server. It has files on 12 different employees. All women. All brilliant. All erased. She opened the folder. Arya's breath caught. There were profiles on each woman. Their contributions to Sterling Media. Documentation of their work. And notes in Vance's handwriting. Take credit before she realizes her value. Discredit if she fights back. Depression angle worked with Rachel. Use again if necessary. Rachel Kim's file was there. So was Arya's. And at the bottom, a new file, Claire Morrison. Claire opened it with trembling fingers. Inside were notes dated from 2 weeks ago. Claire asking too many questions. Knows too much about document alteration. Need to handle before launch. Consider psychiatric hold if she threatens to talk. Worked before. He was planning to have me committed, Claire whispered. Just like he tried with Rachel. Just like he's trying with you. Arya felt ice in her veins. How did you find this? He got careless. Left his laptop unlocked during a meeting. I copied everything to an external drive. Claire pulled out a small hard drive. This is all of it. Every woman he's stolen from. Every document he's forged. Every plan he's made to destroy someone who got in his way. Marcus took the drive carefully, like it might explode. This is enough to bury him. Criminally, not just civilly. There's one more thing, Claire said. She pulled up an audio file. This is from a board meeting last week. I recorded it. She pressed play. Vance's voice filled the air. Gentlemen, the Tribune article is a setback, but manageable. We're already seeding stories about Arya's mental instability. By next week, public opinion will shift. People love a comeback story, and I'm the victim of a vindictive ex-wife and an attention-seeking dead woman's family. Another voice. What about the FBI investigation? Let them investigate. They won't find anything, because we've already scrubbed the servers. Every file that could implicate me has been deleted or altered. It's my word against theirs, and I have better lawyers. A third voice. What about the new assistant? Claire? Silence. Then Vance. Claire is becoming a liability. I'm handling it. By the product launch, she'll either be quiet or she'll be discredited. I've dealt with difficult women before. This won't be any different. Laughter from the board members. The recording ended. Claire was crying. I gave him everything. I worked 18-hour days. I believed in him. And he was planning to destroy me like I was nothing. Aria put her arm around Claire's shoulders. You're not nothing, and he's not going to destroy you. Because we're going to destroy him first. Catherine's voice came through the phone. That recording is admissible. It proves intent to commit fraud and obstruction of justice. Combined with the documents Claire provided, we have a criminal case. We need to move fast, Marcus said. If Vance realizes Claire has gone to us, he'll activate his contingency plans. He already knows, Claire said quietly. I didn't just take the files. I also sent an email to the entire Sterling media staff from Vance's account. 30 minutes ago. Aria's eyes widened. What did you send? Everything. The profiles of the 12 women, the forged documents, the recording, and a message from me explaining what I found. Claire's voice was steady now. 20,000 employees just learned exactly who they've been working for. Marcus checked his phone. His face went pale. It's already leaked to Twitter. For Sterling Media Files is trending. Within seconds, Aria's phone exploded with notifications. The files were spreading across the internet like wildfire. Tech blogs, news outlets, social media. Everyone was downloading, reading, sharing. The truth was out. All of it. And there was no way to contain it. Aria's phone rang. Vance. She looked at Catherine on the video call. Should I answer? Put it on speaker. Let's hear what he has to say. Aria answered. Hello, Vance. His voice was barely controlled rage. What did you do? I didn't do anything. Your assistant did. The one you were planning to have committed. You turned her against me. You poisoned her mind with your lies. No, Vance. You did this yourself. Every woman you destroyed. Every piece of work you stole. Every life you ruined. This is your legacy. I will sue you into oblivion. I will take everything you own. I will. You'll what? Have me committed. Claim I'm crazy. That playbook doesn't work anymore. The whole world knows what you are. Silence. Then, Aria, please. We can fix this. Come home. We'll hold a press conference together. United front. We'll say it was all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. Aria's voice was ice. Rachel Kim is dead because of you. 12 other women had their careers destroyed because of you. You were planning to do the same thing to Claire. Where's the misunderstanding? Rachel was unstable. The others were mediocre. They needed to be managed. His control was slipping. I built this company. Me. I'm the genius. I'm the one who made it all happen. You're a thief and a liar. And in about 3 hours, you're going to be arrested. What? Catherine's voice came through the phone. Mr. Sterling, this is Catherine Wright, Ms. Santos's attorney. The FBI has been provided with all evidence of document fraud, theft, and obstruction of justice. They're currently drafting arrest warrants. I'd suggest you contact your legal counsel. The line went dead. Aria looked at Claire. Are you safe? Is there anywhere he can find you? I've already moved out of my apartment. I'm staying with my sister in Milwaukee. He doesn't know where she lives. Good. Stay there. Don't come back until this is over. Claire hugged Arya tightly. Thank you. For believing me. For fighting. Rachel would be proud. After Claire left with security escort, Arya sat on a bench overlooking the lake. The sun was rising now, painting the water gold and pink. Marcus sat beside her. You did it. He's finished. I see, though. Men like Vance always find a way to survive. Not this time. The evidence is too damning. The public backlash is too strong. Sterling Media's stock has already dropped 40%. Board members are resigning. Investors are pulling out. Marcus showed her his phone. And look at this. It was a video. Jennifer Park, the engineer whose AI code Vance had stolen, was giving an interview. I'm done being silent, Jennifer said to the camera. Vance Sterling stole a year of my life's work and called it his genius. But I'm not the only one. There are hundreds of us, women whose brilliance was erased so men could take credit. Today, that ends. The video had been viewed 5 million times. Comments flooded in. Other women in tech sharing their stories. Men expressing outrage. Calls for industry-wide reform. I believe women in tech was trending worldwide. Arya's phone rang again. Sarah Chen. Turn on the news. Any channel. Arya pulled up a news stream on her phone. Breaking news banners across every network. FBI raid STRNG media QR TAS. VNC Starly Elifdaliz OFA Dapshis. TT Billid I1R Philos TG YWOMN Bobuchito Baro GHTMWN. The footage showed Vance being led out of his office in handcuffs. His face was ashen. His perfectly groomed appearance shattered. The man who'd looked at her with disgust at the obsidian rose now looked small and defeated. Behind him, federal agents carried boxes of evidence. Sloane Hartley was visible in the background, screaming at lawyers, her $10 million ring catching the camera lights as she gestured wildly. Sources say Ms. Hartley is also under investigation for her role in document destruction. The news anchor reported, the relationship that was once poured as a fairy tale now appears to be a partnership in fraud. Arya watched it all with strange detachment. This was supposed to feel triumphant, victorious. Instead, she just felt tired. You okay? Marcus asked. I don't know. I spent 3 years loving him, sacrificing for him, and it was all for a man who never existed. The Vance I loved was a lie. Maybe. But the woman who loved him was real. The woman who fought for justice for Rachel was real. The woman sitting here right now, who changed an entire industry. She's real. Marcus stood offering his hand. Come on, you have somewhere to be. 3 months later, the Sterling Media building had a new name, Arya Technologies. After Vance's arrest, the board had voted unanimously to remove him. Investors had demanded leadership change, and Catherine had negotiated a settlement that gave Arya controlling interest in the company in exchange for dropping certain civil claims. Vance was in jail awaiting trial on 14 counts of fraud, theft, and obstruction of justice. Sloane had fled to Europe, her engagement ring seized as evidence. But Arya wasn't interested in revenge anymore. She was interested in rebuilding. She stood in the main conference room, looking at the faces gathered there. Jennifer Park, now Chief Technology Officer. Claire Morrison, Director of Ethics and Compliance. Michelle Kim, heading a new foundation in Rachel's name. Emma Sterling, who'd publicly disowned her brother and joined Arya's team, and 12 other women. The ones from Vance's secret files. The ones whose work had been stolen. Thank you all for coming, Arya began. 3 months ago, this company stood for everything wrong with the tech industry. Exploitation. Theft. The erasure of women's contributions. She clicked a remote. The screen behind her lit up with a new mission statement. Today, we're building something different. A company where credit goes to those who earn it. Where brilliance is celebrated, not stolen. Where no one is erased. She looked at each woman in turn. I can't give you back the years that were stolen, but I can give you what should have been yours from the beginning. Equity. Recognition. Power. Arya pulled up contracts on the screen. Each of you is being offered a senior position in this company. Full salary restoration for the time your work was used without credit. And shares in Arya Technologies equal to your original contributions. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. You're giving us ownership. You earned it. I'm just making sure you get it. Claire spoke up. What about Rachel? She can't be here. No, but her legacy will be. Arya clicked to the next slide. 20% of company profits will go to the Rachel Kim Foundation, providing grants to women in STEM whose work has been plagiarized or stolen. It will be the largest fund of its kind in the world. Michelle Kim was crying openly now. Rachel would have loved this. I know, Arya said softly. That's why we're doing it. The meeting continued for hours. Plans for restructuring. New projects. Ethical guidelines to prevent what happened from ever happening again. As it ended, Arya stood by the window, looking out at Chicago. The same city where she'd sold burgers in the rain. The same city where Rachel had died. The same city that was now watching a broken system begin to change. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She almost deleted it. But something made her open it. M. Santos, my name is Dr. Lisa Wang. I'm a researcher at Northwestern. I read about what you did. About how you fought back. I've been working on cancer research for 5 years, and my supervising professor has been taking credit for my discoveries. I was ready to give up, but your story gave me courage. I'm filing a complaint tomorrow. Thank you for showing me that I don't have to disappear, Lisa. Arya stared at the message. Then another came in, and another. Women from all over the country, all over the world, sharing their stories, thanking her, telling her they were fighting back because she'd shown them it was possible. She'd set out to destroy one man. Instead, she'd started a revolution. Marcus found her there an hour later, still reading messages. You changed the world, he said quietly. I just told the truth. That's exactly how you change the world. That evening, Arya did something she hadn't done in 3 years. She went back to the street where she used to sell burgers. The spot where her stall had been was empty now. Just a sidewalk corner like any other. She stood there in the cold, remembering the woman she'd been. Bleeding hands. Broken dreams, invisible to everyone who passed by. A young woman walked past, struggling with grocery bags. Arya helped her. Thank you, the woman said, surprised. You didn't have to do that. Someone helped me once, Arya replied. One, I had nothing. The woman smiled and walked on. Arya pulled out her phone one more time. She opened her camera and recorded a video. No script, no planning. Just truth. My name is Arya Santos. 3 years ago, I stood on this corner selling burgers to save my husband's life. Today, I run a tech company worth $3 billion. Not because I married a billionaire. Because I am one. She paused, looking at the camera. If you're watching this and you feel invisible, if someone has stolen your work, if you've been told you're not enough, I'm here to tell you that you are. Your brilliance matters. Your story matters. You matter. Don't let anyone erase you. And if they try, fight back. Because the world needs your genius more than it needs their lies. She ended the recording and posted it. Within an hour, it had 1 million views. Within a day, 10 million. The comments flooded in. But one stood out. It was from a username she didn't recognize. The profile picture showed a young Asian woman. The message was simple. Thank you for not letting my sister die in silence. Rachel is smiling today. Michelle. Aria looked up at the Chicago sky. Stars were appearing between the buildings. We did it, Rachel, she whispered. We made sure they remember you. A light snow began to fall soft and clean, covering the street where her old stall had stood. Aria turned and walked away from that corner for the last time. She wasn't the burger girl anymore. She wasn't Vance Sterling's wife. She was Aria Santos, coder, entrepreneur, survivor, fighter, and she was just getting started. 1 year later, the Rachel Kim Memorial Scholarship awarded its first 50 grants to women in technology whose work had been plagiarized. Vance Sterling was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison for fraud, theft, and conspiracy. Sloane Hartley received 3 years for her role in document destruction. Jennifer Park won the National Technology Innovation Award for her AI platform, finally receiving credit under her own name. Claire Morrison published a book, The Assistant: How I Helped Take Down a Billionaire. It became a bestseller. Emma Sterling started a non-profit helping families of suicide victims navigate NDAs and legal systems. Michelle Kim became the executive director of the Rachel Kim Foundation, ensuring her sister's name would live on in every grant, every scholarship, every woman who received help. Aria Technologies grew to be one of the most valuable companies in America, with a reputation for ethical practices and supporting women in tech. And Aria. She never sold another burger, but she never forgot what it felt like to be invisible. Every year on the anniversary of Rachel Kim's death, Aria stood on the Roosevelt Bridge at sunset. She'd bring flowers and drop them into the water, watching them float away. "You're not forgotten," she'd say. "You never will be!" Because some stories don't end with silence. Some stories end with revolution. And this one was just beginning. To every woman who has ever had her work stolen, her brilliance questioned, or her voice silenced, you are not invisible. You are not crazy. You are not alone. Your story matters. Your work matters. You matter. This story is dedicated to you. Keep fighting. Keep creating. Keep refusing to be erased. The world needs your light.